Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I've got a video for you that just really angers me. It's not a family court case, but it's the cutie in Washington, Judge Jake Stillwell. I'll let you guys watch the stupidity in this one.
Dawn Breen, is that you, ma'am? All right.
Hey, that's me.
All right.
Hi. Hey, who are you?
I'm Commissioner Jake Stillwell.
Hi.
Hi.
It's nice to meet you.
You
Thank
too. So you were here when I talked about the difference between
Yes.
contested and mitigation.
Right.
So you're here for a contested hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And you want to remain contested hearing after the spiel?
Okay, now just a moment. I am I'm not contesting the fact that we had our pooch in the car.
Okay.
What I'm contesting or I just don't agree with the results that she found.
Okay.
The officer.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh.
So
Thanks.
I'm not contesting the fact that we had the pooch in the car, but
Okay.
I am in disagreement with her findings.
Okay. Let me.
Does that make sense?
I think so. It
Okay.
does. And then again, so Mr. Sharp, is it usually that you weigh in on all of these? Or
Most of the time we have traffic
Yeah.
infractions, but the court has the report.
Yeah.
City would rest its case on that. I'll stand by if the court has any questions
Okay.
that I can help with.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, let me just take a look at, I've got here what you filed. I'm going to just take a look at what's in the record here and just give me a moment or two. All right, and I'll turn back to you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I have read the field services officer's report and some videos she took of the temperature monitoring device that she used as well. What would you like to tell me, ma'am?
Well, we have a situation with a pooch, a rescue pooch, and she is she becomes very animated. She was in our car. She had her water. She spends a lot of time in her car. It's kind of like her kennel, actually. The windows are open. The car has tinted windows. I do have pictures of all this stuff.
Okay.
And we were informed that people were gathering around our car. So I came out to the car and the officer Olson was there, and I was asking her what the problem was, and she was explaining to me that she has a temperature gun that recorded the temperature inside of our car at a very high temperature, which I don't understand, because I don't know how we could get into a car that was 114 degrees or whatever it was that she came up with. So when I said, well, how do you know what the temperature was inside of our car? And she said, well, she uses this device and it looks like a gun. Our dog does not respond well. She hides from anything that looks like a weapon, a knife or a gun. And the only reason we even know that is because when Daddy-O has been cleaning a gun at the counter, she will come and hide behind me. So that's how we know what her response is to something that looks like a gun. And we don't know why, because we rescued her. She was about 6 months old in Mexico. She's a Mexican dingo. So she requires heat. If we're sitting outside, she will lay on the hot cement. She requires heat. Her body temperature is 101 degrees on a normal level. And so she hasn't had any problems with heat. When I opened up the car to let my distressed dog out that I was harming or trying to, she just sat there and looked at me. So I had to call her 3 times to say, Chiquita, it's okay. She didn't want to come out because she didn't like the commotion that was going on outside of her car.
Mhm.
And she didn't like that gun thing being pointed inside the window. And when she came out, she was unusually disoriented. And I believe that was because of the assault that she had been going through while we were not there. So I'm here today to really basically to contest her findings. When we got into the car, we don't use air conditioning or anything like that. There was no reason for us to cool the car down because it was not that warm in there, to be very honest with you, at least for us. And some people have said that dogs don't sweat, but that's not true. They do perspire through their paws. So she has a way of cooling herself down if she needs to. And really, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I had this nice little thing typed up so I could just like read it to you, but and I'm happy to do that. And I also have pictures of the car and the temperatures and that sort of thing. I took my own little temperature reading of the car the next day, which was a much hotter day. And the interior of the car registered at 102 degrees. And that was in the direct sun, on a westerly facing sun in a much warmer day. And I have pictures of all that. I did that out of my own curiosity, because I could not believe what she was telling me, that her results were of the temperature inside the car. So that's why I'm here today. And I also disagree with the one size fits all. I understand that we make laws, but I also understand that our dog isn't a one size fits all. She's not like a lot of them. She's got a different history than a lot of them. And she's been with us for almost 13 years. And we are not air conditioning people. So we travel back and forth to Arizona all the time, 120 degrees in Phoenix. And she's right there with us the whole time.
Okay.
So,
well, ma'am, you wrote something up and you brought things here. I mean, you're welcome to the extent it's different than what you just told me. You're welcome to read it. You don't have to repeat yourself if that's kind of what you've already told me.
basically, that's kind of a synopsis of what I wrote here, actually.
All right. And then you've brought in this.
Yeah, I just brought in a few pictures.
I don't need to see pictures of the car. I'm curious what the temperature picture you've got there that is.
Oh, well, that was me taking a picture of the thermometer. I actually brought the thermometer, so because my picture it was hard for me to hold my phone and the thermometer at the same time against the seat.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see.
Okay.
But it can be interpolated. Would you like to see that?
Sure.
Okay. Right.
I was able to see it over your shoulder, honestly.
Okay, I was gonna say no problem.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But normally I would.
Yeah.
need to see
And then
it,
right. Yeah.
I did take a picture of my phone, and actually what the car registered on this day, because this was the following day.
Yeah.
I obviously couldn't take all these pictures on that day because I had no idea this was going to happen.
Well, and let me tell you, ma'am, so at a contested hearing, one of the differences too is the legal rules of evidence apply. So to the extent that you've got readings from your car from the next day and things like that, what I'm really focused on is evidence under the RCW, the state law that the officer here cited. And so what it says, and I'm sure you've read it, but it basically says that it's an infraction to leave an animal unattended in a motor vehicle if the animal could be harmed or killed by exposure to excessive heat, cold, lack of ventilation, or lack of necessary water. And so, it sounds like you made comments on the allegations that you were trying to kill the dog, things like that. That's not what the statute says. A civil citation this is not an animal cruelty criminal charge against you or anything like that. That's not what this is. This is a civil infraction, and the language is a bit more general there. And I think because of that, how it works is the government has the burden of what's called preponderance of the evidence. But it's basically it's more likely than not is essentially what the standard is, that the language of that statute that I just read to you has been met. And again, is it more likely than not that given what the officer here had in front of her, that there was that the dog being left in the motor vehicle could have been harmed due to that excessive heat. I'm cognizant that she's not present, and so we can't ask her questions. This city is here though. So do you have any final remarks, Mr. Sharp?
Regarding Your Honor's last point,
Yeah.
and if Ms. Spring would like an opportunity to have the officer here so she can question her,
Yeah.
We could maybe reset this hearing and make those arrangements.
May I add one more thing to that? Or I think, she had mentioned that the dog, in the very beginning, the dog didn't have any water. But the truth of the matter is that the dog did have water.
Well, she did put in here that the dog had water.
Okay,
Yeah.
see,
Yeah,
she and I had these conversations
Right.
twice, actually, because on the scene, she was explaining to me what was happening. And we talked about that. And then she basically said, I could fine you. And then that was it.
Would you like an opportunity for that officer to be here and to be questioned?
No, I wouldn't necessarily, because she and I have gone through this. And then when I got home, she had called a phone call and said, I'm going to fine you. So I'm going, okay. And I told her that I would be contesting that. The unattended space harm/kill.
Well, it's harmed or killed. So it's not, so
Well-
again, so I'll, I guess, cut to the chase. So I'm going to find the violation, and here's why. What I have in front of me is a temperature gauge saying 114 degrees in the car, and then a statutory requirement of being left in a car could harm the dog. And based on this officer's training and experience, which she outlines in the notice of infraction, I think that's enough to meet the just more likely than not standard. I think that's enough that they've provided at this point to make that determination based on what they've provided, which is that temperature reading, which is what I have in front of me. Yep.
What I can't agree with is the gun temperature reading. That's technology, much the same as the officers that shoot the traffic control, they, and I think it's erroneous. I don't think it's a proper measure, which is kind of why I went back to the old fashioned thing, just to see. I needed to see for myself if that could possibly be true.
Could you tell me more about your issues with the temperature gauge?
I cannot fathom that you can shoot a thing into the air and be registering the air inside of the car. When we get in the car, if it was 114 degrees in there, wouldn't we have known it? I mean, the temperature inside the car was not uncomfortable. And I do believe that the dog wasn't uncomfortable in her car. I do believe that it was the law enforcement part of it that was causing her to have some frustration.
Well, the issue wasn't the dog's behavior in response to the law enforcement officer or the service officer. I think, again, it's really just focused on the temperature in the car. What I hear you saying is you've got an issue because you went into the car afterwards and felt.
That is exactly my issue. I had to ask her several times, how do you know that is an accurate measurement tool? And that's
So,
why.
okay, and if I could pause there. So, Mr. Sharp, I'm sorry to keep going back to you because,
I appreciate the opportunity.
most of the contested hearings I've had so far have been without representatives from the government here, so it's usually. And so to the extent you're able, I know this service officer isn't here. And so going back to you, just because you are here, I'm curious. Stop me if this is inappropriate for these types of hearings in your experience, but my question for that officer would be to, what I have in front of me is a picture of that. Have you seen this? This is in the court file. It's a picture of the temperature gauge. About basically laying a foundation for that.
I
And
appreciate that.
yeah,
Again, we could arrange a hearing to do all of that. I think
Yeah.
the court has additional information in the report
Yeah.
that corroborates that. I appreciate, there's disagreement here. Officer did note, I'm looking at her narrative here. Dog was panting heavily, lying down at the time. And that this had, I think a circumstance as well is that this was called in by a third party. There was enough of a concern with the situation. That alone, of course, would not be enough for the court to make a ruling, but that is circumstantial evidence that comes into play here. And all of these things together do add up. And the government's burden here is a preponderance of the evidence, as the court noted. That appears to have been met here.
Yeah. So, ma'am, the court's going to find the violation. I appreciate everything you brought in. And I think, as Mr. Sharper noted, it's a more likely than not standard. This is not a criminal case. And the statutes, it speaks to conditions where an animal could be harmed. It's not that you were intending to kill this animal. That's not what the statute says. That's not what's being alleged against you. But given that, there's somebody has the expertise in this sort of thing, with equipment registering at that heat level, given that it's a more likely than not standard, the court's going to find the violation. Is it still the same? It's okay, the same slip. So what you can do, ma'am, is go out to the front counter here. You've got 30 days you can even set up a payment plan within 30 days. You don't have to pay the amount in full by that time, but just work with the folks out front on getting a payment plan together.
And my other option would be to have her come with her little temperature gun and she could take the temperature in this room.
Well, no, there's a, you could have, in setting this hearing, basically subpoenaed her to be here for this hearing. But no, taking the temperature in this room wouldn't. But I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate the arguments you're making. And
I'm really not trying to argue. I'm just trying to understand.
I understand. Yep, I understand what you're saying, and hopefully too, it's been clear that the allegations against you are not that you committed a crime, that you were trying to kill the dog or anything like that. But it's a civil infraction where if an animal could be harmed because of excessive heat in a car, that's essentially the violation.
And see, we're well aware of that because we hang out in Arizona. So,
right.
we're very well aware of that.
Yep, understood. Okay, well, thank you both for being here. Good luck.
Okay, I have to give a little bit of a disclaimer here. Years ago, I was boarding my horse at this barn, and the guy that ran the place was kind of a jerk, but the trails were so amazing that, it was worth being there. Anyway, he had this dog named Tuffy, and when I was there, that dog was with me. She was stuck to my side. I mean, I loved her so much, and she loved me. She followed me everywhere. Well, one really hot day, he accidentally left her in his truck, and she didn't make it. And I was heartbroken for I still am. It was over 20 years ago. I'm still heartbroken about that. So that's my disclaimer here. It really angers me when people try to make it so that they didn't know, or it really wasn't that bad, or what this lady is saying is that, it really wasn't that hot in the car. Well, 114 is pretty hot. And that device that they use to test it is very accurate. So for her to sit there and say, oh, it doesn't work, I don't believe it, and all that kind of stuff, well, it's too bad. She is the epitome of stupidity. She's probably going to do it again because she thinks her dog loves the heat. Certain dogs do like to lay in the sun. They do. And they can get out of the sun when they want to. That dog was trapped. How is that right? That one was trapped. But she had water. What do you think happens to water in a hot car? It gets hot. How does that cool them down? It doesn't. Besides, in a hot car, the only way you can cool off a dog in a hot car is to pour the water on their head. And I don't think the dog could do that with her little paws. So it really angers me when people act this stupid. And she wants us to believe she goes to Arizona and doesn't use the air conditioner in 120 degree heat. I don't buy it. Not at all. I think she's full of it. I think she was just trying to get out of a ticket and trying to obfuscate her responsibility. She doesn't want to be held responsible for her stupidity. That's what it is. Hopefully she will learn. Either that or stop getting animals because you don't deserve them. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you another time.